What's up, Dolphin fans? Stay tuned because mock draft season is amongst us. Folks, I'm going to do a 7-round Miami Dolphins mock draft for the 2022 NFL Draft. Now, stay tuned because I'm about to share my screen. And I actually did 2 other drafts, so I'm going to share you 2 other results after I'm done with this one. I'm going to take and explain my picks, why I chose those picks, and then I'm going to need you guys to comment below and take and let me know what you think, okay? All right, so here we are. This is PFF.com. This is their mock draft simulator. I did one of these last year. I got tons of feedback, both good and bad, okay? Now, again, I did 3 of these, so as you see, once we're done, I'm going to go up here to my top 2 tabs. I'm going to share what happens if we get a running back with our first pick, what offensive line prospects are going to be left over, what happens if we don't get a running back till, say, the 3rd or the 4th round, right? So let's jump into it. We obviously have the 29th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. So let's go ahead. Let's kick this thing off, okay? Enter draft. Here we go. We'll go ahead and click Start Draft. And boom, here we are. Ooh, Derek Stingley's off the board. Andrew Booth Jr. off the board. Jordan Davis from Georgia off the board. And here we are, Miami Dolphins with the 29th pick, okay? Now, as you guys know, Tua ain't going to have a good year if we don't take and have a good offensive line. This is top priority, folks. I'm going to take it with my first pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. I have the Dolphins taking and picking up Bernard Raymond. Now, I know I definitely butchered his name. Now, before I draft him, let's check out his stats. Let's see what we got here on the board, okay? Now, we know that he's athletic. 2 years ago, he was playing tight end, which is super awesome. That's something I do like. Coach, I kept calling him Coach Mike McDaniels, but Coach Mike McDaniel, he has constantly said that he wants athletic offensive linemen because that O-line is going to move with different schemes that they do run. So that is something that I do definitely like. I like that he literally only gave up 1 sack last year. Just 1 sack. He gave up 3 hits, and then there were 6 hurries. But overall, pretty solid tackle. These were his best games, and these were his worst games. But guess what? You're on the Miami Dolphins now, my friend. That is our first round draft pick. Now, here we are at the second round. All right, and we are on the clock. Now, I got a tackle with the first pick. I want to make sure. Now, mind you, there's several. There's Armstead from the New Orleans Saints. There's several guards, several centers out there that we can get. I expect us to at least get 2 of these. At least 2 veterans, and I'm hoping we get 2 to 3 old linemen in this year's draft. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the inside offensive linemen. Now, this section is going to give us guards, and it's going to give us centers as well, too. Now, if you guys want to do this, I am going to have the link to the mock draft simulator down below in the description. Make sure you guys go ahead and check that out, okay? But my pick is going to take and be none other than Dylan Parham, guard from Memphis. Let's check out his stats, okay? He has a pretty good size, 6'3", 285. Pretty athletic. I do like that a lot. In 2020, he had a 90.6 overall grade. Okay. I also do like that he allowed only 1 pressure out of 55 pass blocking snaps to Houston's Logan Hall, 2021. Look up Logan Hall. He is a dog. Then over here, he gave up no sacks last year. No sacks. No sacks. That is music to my ears. 2020 gave up 1 sack. In 2019, I'm assuming he was a freshman or a sophomore, he gave up 5 sacks. So overall, I like it. He has a little bit higher on the hurries. He has 8. I do show here his best game was against ECU. That's Eastern Carolina University. I played up against some pretty good schools. UCF, Tulsa got some ballers on there too, Nebraska. But welcome to the Miami Dolphins. So our first pick was a tackle. Second pick is going to be a guard. And who will we pick in the 3rd round? Now, I don't want to go too deep as far as running backs go. I don't want to wait till the 4th or 5th round. This year is actually really deep with running backs. What's frustrating is that every year, not every year, this year specifically, because there's not a lot of quarterback prospects, they're calling it a whack draft. Fam, there's tons of O linemen, tons of D linemen, lots and lots of good secondary players. So, and because of that, wide receivers are going to slide. Running backs are going to slide. There's going to be some sliders in this year's draft. Let's go. Let's check it out, though. Running backs. Here we go. Boom. We got Damian Pierce, Tyler Algier, James Cook, Brian Robinson Jr. Now, there's a guy, and I see this guy being a 2nd round draft pick, to be honest with you. I don't see him sliding past the 2nd round, and that's going to be none other than University of Michigan, Hassan Haskins. Now, I will say I'm going to plug my stuff here real quickly. Supposedly, we have an interview with Hassan next week on this podcast, an exclusive interview. So you guys make sure you subscribe, stay up to date with that. He's 6'1", 220 pounds, senior, 22 years old. He's the reason they beat Ohio. He is the reason they beat Ohio. Now, check out his stats. Stats are off the chain. 1,327 yards. I freaking love that. 20 touchdowns. Yeah, 18 receptions. I mean, I love this. I love this. He played 14 games this year. He was a stable for that offense. You see that his best game was against, I think it was Northwestern here. And then he had a not so good game against, I think it was University of Miami, Ohio, I believe it was. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and draft him. We got a running back, folks. Hopefully, a guy who can lead this team. Now, I like some running backs. I like Duke Johnson. I hope we actually signed Duke Johnson for longer than just 1 year, right? But I mean, he just balled out for us for like 2-3 games, right? So I don't want to say, oh, Duke Johnson's our guy, and that's it. This is why it's important to have depth, folks. You see teams like the Ravens, as many injuries as they have, man, you get down to that fourth running back, and he's a baller who can get you points. He can get you touchdowns. He can do the daggone job, okay? I also like Lindsey as well, too. He's never had a fumble in his entire NFL career. I love that. So we're not – and I'll say this. I like Gaskin, but Gaskin belongs you know how you look in New England Patriots. Let me draft this guy real quick. Wait for our next pick. New England Patriots, they have a running back committee. He belongs to our running back committee. He has fantastic hands, but again, definitely not a running back number one. He should not have been starting this year. Anywho, moving on. We got 2 O-linemen week taken. We also got a running back as well, too. Now, we do need a receiver in this draft, but I'm telling you, O-line is top priority this year. It is such top priority that I'm going to take and pick up another tackle. All right. Now, do we have Robert Hunt? Actually, I'm going to take and go. Let's see. I'm going to take and go center with my next pick, folks. I'm going to take and pick up this gentleman right here, Alec Lindstrom. He's ranked really good at ADP, like 162 overall. Let's take and see where he's at here. 6'3", 298 pounds. I like that. Coming from Boston College, they play a lot of really good schools. And as you see here, he gave up 1 sack. Don't really want your centers giving up sacks, but 1 sack, that's not too bad. Only 2 hits the entire year, and then he had 4 hurries. This is not too bad. I mean, we were playing schools like Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Syracuse. You know, you got Louisville on here, NC State, Clemson. You know, schools that, especially, you know, Clemson is known for having good defensive players. This is pretty impressive to me. So oftentimes centers, they could play guard. It's very common that they can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draft us. So far we have a running back, we have a center, we have a guard, and we have a tackle. And again, I'm hoping, and this is assuming that we don't pick up, you know, Leonard Fournette, you know, from the Buccaneers. So this is assuming that we don't pick up a running back elsewhere, right? But that's why I chose a running back in the 3rd round. Now I'm going to take and go receiver with this next pick. Now there's another guy here that I'm pretty high on. Now I've been battling because I've done a few of these mock drafts. Hey, being a Miami Dolphins fan, it's obvious, hey, I love the Hurricanes. Right? I like Charles Rambo. Charles Rambo is a beast. He's everything that you want in a wide receiver. Let's go ahead. Let's check out his stats. He's 6'1", 185 pounds. Great. Look at this, 1,165 yards. That is fantastic. He's elusive. He can break tackles. He gives you everything that you want. His best game was against Michigan State. Worst game was against University of North Carolina. Overall, fantastic player. I mean, you look at the growth between 2019 and 2021, and he's ready. He's ready for this moment. So I have us taking and picking up Charles Rambo. Here we go. Almost done with this draft, y'all. I think we have about 2 or 3 more picks coming up in the 5th round. Yep, we got 2 more picks. All right, and here we go, y'all. So we got a receiver, we got a running back. Also as well, we got a center, we got a guard, and we have a tackle as well too. I do want us to take and have a lot of depth, especially at the interior part of the line. I think that's very important. Now, if we get a guy like Armstead, he does have a history of injuries. He does. That's why I have us going offensive tackle again. I have us going O tackle again. I'm going to take and I'm going to pick up this gentleman right here, Logan Bruss, excuse me, coming out of Wisconsin. Let's go. Let's check out some of his stats. Why are we choosing this guy? He's 6'5". He's huge, 316 pounds. He's a senior. He's had a few years of start here. And look at this, no sacks. No sacks, sliding all the way to the 5th round. Folks, this is what I'm talking about. D-line and O-line is stacked this year. There's going to be people falling all the way down to 6th and 7th round who could potentially be day one starters, okay? Potentially. But a lot of good depth signings. I like this. 275 block snaps, 372 run block snaps. He only has 7 hurries the whole year. No sacks and 2 hits. Now look at the schools they're playing. Penn State. Got Rutgers on here. Got Nebraska. His best game was against Rutgers. Rutgers isn't like, they're not like stacked in this year's draft. I think they have maybe like 2 to 3 guys who are probably going to be declaring for the draft. But still, I like this. I like what I see. And boom, we got 2 tackles, guard, a center, running back, and we got a receiver. Now, this is going to surprise you. Now, we don't have a 7th round pick this year, but we do have a 6th round pick, okay? I'm not a Tua hater. I'm not a Tua hater. Let me repeat it again. I'm not a Tua hater, but I have us picking up a quarterback, okay? It's important, and I'm not Jacoby Brissett, man, I'm not a fan. When he runs the ball, every time he says hike, I'm scared. Every time he says hike, I'm scared. I'm like, oh man, dude, what the heck are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now? I don't see him being with the Dolphins any longer. So I have us taking and picking up Dustin Crum from Kent State. 3,300 yards. And I studied up on this dude before even doing this mock draft. 3,300 yards, and he's a runner as well too. He's 6'3". He's tall, right? A lot of people don't like Tua's height, whatever. 6'3", which is pretty good. Let's check out his stats. Yeah, I said 3,300 yards. 3,200 yards. That's pretty dang good. He had 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Look at the previous years. 2019, he had 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2020 was definitely a down year for him. I believe there was an injury there. He had 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But overall, we've seen him get better. What I like about him is that he's a runner as well, too. He has several hundred yards on the ground. That's something that I do like a lot. Somebody who is – I like my second-string quarterbacks to play different. So that way, if he comes in, he could take and rely on something other than his arm that can take and throw defenses off, right? So I have us picking up Dustin Crum. And look, he played against Texas A&M. That was his worst game. Texas A&M has some ballers this year. They beat some really good teams. And then his best game was against NIU. So that's it. That's it for my draft. Now, before you finish, click off the video. Let's take and recap what we have here. And I'm going to show you my 2 other drafts. And then we're done here for the day, folks. You don't have to hear from me at the Dolphins video for a little bit. So we'll go ahead and we are pulling up our results right now. And I'll show you on one of these other ones. I have us picking a running back with our first pick. You might like that one. So this is what I got. We got tackle, Brenhard Raymond. We got a guard, Dylan Parham. We got a running back, Hassan Haskins, who could potentially be running back number 1 for us. The dude is an absolute dog. He's a north-south runner. This is why I chose him. He's elusive. He can catch. He can do all those things. He can hurdle people in midfield. He's everything that you want. He has first-round talent. But because there's a few other guys like Kenneth Walker who are going to go before him, I do have Hassan Haskins slide into the 3rd. But in real life, I wouldn't be mad if we pick him in the 2nd round. I would not be mad one bit. Here we go. We got center Alec Lindstrom. We got wide receiver Charleston Rambo, Logan Bruss, and Dustin Crum. Now, my other mock draft, let me pull this up here. Very similar. I have us going back-to-back tackles. I got Hassan Haskins again in the 3rd round. We got Luke Fortner center. We got Danny Gray. I have Danny Gray actually coming on the show this Tuesday. So episode coming out soon. Very excited to take an interview. The young man, y'all know me. I'm a real life insider. So I really try to get these interviews on the show. I got a linebacker, Nefi Sewell, and then I got Dustin Crum with my final pick. And then my final mock draft for the Miami Dolphins, Kenneth Walker III, potentially the best running back in the draft. I would definitely give him the edge over Hassan Haskins. Hassan is a beast too. Then I got tackle Jamari Slayer. We know Georgia produces good O-linemen. They produce really freaking good O-linemen for the most part. Tyler Smith, this guy's 6'6", 330-something pounds. He's a beast. Plays for Tulsa. I got Danny Gray. Again, I have him coming on the show this Tuesday. We got Dylan Parham, Cordell Flott. Got us a cornerback, and then of course Dustin Crum. I really think it's important we get a quarterback. If an event Tua goes down, something doesn't go right, we have too much. It's almost like the Colts. You have too much of a talented team to just rely on that quarterback. You need to take and have depth at the quarterback position. I do believe that's important. But anywho, that's all I got here today. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Thank you guys so much for taking and tuning in to another episode of Touchdown with Doug Smith. If you want to donate to keep the channel going, Cash App, all the information is down below. Let me know what you think. God bless you guys. Be safe. And man, I cannot wait for draft. Look, I'm recording this on March 2nd. I'll probably drop it in a day or two. And draft season, man. It's upon us. It is upon us. You guys have a great night. Talk to y'all soon. Make sure you subscribe.
Turn 100 for the touchdown, King Crown, gain inside, leading your town, hit you faster than the sound, bad boy, throw it down, yeah, I'm ill, not my will, don't Copperfield, fill the house, listen to the warm crowd, drop a light, calm it down, Heisman, all the haters mouth, superhero hit them wow, packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow, touchdown for the win, we live, subscribe right now.